Good morning. How are you? This is my second class. What about the first class? Everybody followed? Did you really understand what we taught in the last or previous class? Can I ask you some questions? What are the types of schools of grammar I referred? Before that, let me ask you, did you go through the syllabus? I referred all the syllabus, which all the areas that we discussed in the paper language and linguistics. And I deal with the second and fourth unit. So you should be very careful once you get a university textbook. This is our textbook, language and linguistics. And my part, both linguistics and language coming. So you have to go through step by step all the areas of topics. Then only you can follow me in the correct way. So last class, in class number 1, I referred to some schools of thought in which language is a real topic being discussed. And to remind you, I tell you the schools of grammar. These all areas coming as a prehistoric step towards the development of language. You know, language is what we discussed and you got from the unit number 1. The other teacher dealing with that. You understood what is language and what is linguistics. And I explained what is grammar. You remember what did I explain in the last class on grammar? Grammar is a mechanism. And I again and again explained what is mechanism. The mechanical side of a language is very important. So many grammarians searched and researched, and they got different ideas on language. And that is the reason these types of schools of grammar began to be discussed in the field of language. And later I discussed the mechanism leads to the systematic method of study of language. And all these concerned with the areas. I hope you people prepare short notes on that. All the areas, in order to study real mechanism of grammar, we should understand the background. And these are the backgrounds from which modern English, modern grammar, modern mechanism of English language being developed, that you should keep in mind. So what you studied till higher secondary from 10th standard, let it be CBSE, Kerala Higher Secondary or ICSE, all the areas in the English curriculum, you have been trained and taught traditional method some and some areas related to the modern method. Actually, what all the areas of modern method you really understand may not be known to you. So what you have to do, you have to go through all these schools of grammar and understand at least some features of it, which university may not ask in a detailed essay topic, but being a student of English language, not literature, language, I again specifically say, you are language student. First language you study, then you go to literature. That is why in many universities, your course is known as language and literature. Not literature and language. You study language first. So many schools of thought from these 5 are important. And you should keep some features in your brain or what in the modern English that you refer, your brain hard disk. Just remember the features, just remember the names of exponents and who really taught this grammar and their method of teaching and learning grammar almost entirely different. Are you okay? Understand? You not understanding? The real method you have to keep. As I referred in the last class, going to the playground for football match, going to the playground of your cricket match, all the real sincere players would check the pitch. Like that, entering to the side of grammar, real methodology of grammar, real mechanism of language, you should understand the pitch. Which all the areas or the limits of the ground that you keep in mind to study language. Probably some teachers might have taught you in the higher secondary level what is traditional grammar. It has been the real basis, fundamental grammar. All people refer traditional grammar, or I would tell you, without traditional grammar, these four grammar cannot exist. Means what? All these four grammars are developed or researched from the basis of traditional grammar. Means traditional grammar is the basis of all grammar schools. So we will study what is basically traditional grammar. First point you keep down. What is it? What are the main features of traditional grammar? First thing you keep in mind, traditional grammar is the first fundamental grammar. Are you okay? Traditional grammar. Second point you keep in mind, traditional grammar is the first grammar existed in the world of language, and it has been made as the fundamental platform from which all these grammars or thoughts of grammar came into existence. Some students might have studied Wren and Martin grammar. Wren and Martin. Wren and Martin. People say Wren and Martin, Wren and Martin. Wren and Martin are two people, not one. So these two people were the exponents of traditional grammar. First point, their grammar book is considered to be the gospel of English language, without which nobody can easily pass higher secondary exam or SSLC or 10th standard. You might have studied a great high school English grammar book, will be available in your house, without which I don't believe you people can pass your plus 2. So this grammar book is the basis of all other grammar books. So traditional grammar developed by Wren and Martin was the first fundamental or basis or platform for the whole developments that has been done by all other schools of grammar. Third point you keep in mind, what is this? Why this is insufficient? Why these people of grammar schools of thought became very prominent? Why? They have so many limitations. Limitations means what? Limitations means what? Defects. Defects means what? Defects means what? Demerits. Again, demerits means what? If effects are there, defects will be there. If merits are there, demerits will be there. If unlimited scope of study is there, some limitations will be there. So, traditional grammar developed by Wren and Martin from the basis of language, in English language, they brought so many limitations. which would have been these grammar schools of thought, and they researched and found so many solutions for the limitations. To highlight one, this grammar, Renan Martin traditional grammar, generally known as prescriptive grammar. Prescriptive grammar. Do you know what is meant by prescription? Prescription means prescribing certain rules. In the previous class, you remember I told what is a sentence. In the Renan Martin grammar book or traditional grammar book, you open the first page, first lesson, it is given the sentence. I forgot to bring that book today, but it is there available in your house, in this class, your family library. It is very must book. Everybody has it. So first sentence, first lesson you open, you will get the sentence. What I try to do, they are prescriptive in nature. Prescriptive in nature means they prescribe certain rules. Are you okay? You understand me? Follow me. Prescribing. Just like you go to a doctor, you will be a patient and telling doctors, I have sickness, headache and backache and all that. Doctor will prescribe. Go to medical shop, get this medicine and eat. Things will be okay. Prescription. Like that, Renan Martin prescribed certain rules. What should be a sentence? What must not be a sentence? What all things to be written for these categories? What all the work forms? What all the functional forms? Lot of prescribed rules they studied. And understand this prescription mainly based on Latin language. Many other languages available. But 90% of rules they set in English language based on Latin language. Explaining what is sentence? Sentence is a group of words which makes a sense, meaning. The first paragraph of the Renan Martin grammar book is given like this. What is a sentence? Sentence is a group of words which makes complete sense. But these four grammar schools and exponents won't agree. This is the matter I tell you. Prescriptive grammar has a lot of limitations which these other four people do not agree. Again I tell you, this is only a background of what I teach you. Until and unless you understand these areas, you cannot go to the further areas of synthesis. Your syllabus, a lot of areas coming like transformation, like synthesis, subordination, coordination. You just check your syllabus. Once you go to this syllabus, understand these areas, which all the possible methods by which you can easily understand. Otherwise, you lose your marks. So, what my effort here to tell you, what all the schools of grammar of thought behind the syllabus, and what all the main features they want to explicit, what all the significant features that you should study before entering to the synthesis of modern English. That is what I mean. Are you okay? You understand me? No. Understand me? Right. So these are the areas. So being a language student, you should keep in mind what all the schools of grammar, which all the main significant features, and by which one is the great one that you study in modern English, and how can you improve your English. I tell you very, very frankly, without improving your language, you can't do anything in the literature exam. I'm damn sure. So try to develop language. Try to develop an interest in the field of language. Then automatically you will improve. Then that will cause, I don't know how to say, everything to you, that you will come out of with flying colors. I'm sure. So again I tell you, only main features, main significant topics I tell you. René Martin, exponents were René Martin, traditional grammar, they prescribe rules, then they are originated and depended on basis as the Latin language. Modern English people, structural grammarian to suprasentential or segmental grammarians won't allow. This is the area why all these thoughts of grammar being developed. These structural grammarians ask René Martin, or traditional grammarians or exponents of grammarian, why should you be make a sentence in a group of words? Example, all right, you eat an apple. You eat an apple. A mother telling a child, you eat an apple. Without you, traditional grammarians won't allow this as a sentence. And mind you, mother would tell child only second time, eat. Showing milk, showing apple, showing mango, or showing cup of milk, she would say, drink. Never say, you drink milk from the bottle. What I want to tell you, so many significant elements are there which all these grammarians won't allow. So their limitations became their fruitful areas to discuss. Once you see a friend on the road, you want to say, you come here please. You just say, come. The teacher in the class, as I referred in the last class, teacher says, student, stand, sit. Only one way to communicate. Then why should you make as a sentence is a group of words? No need of group of words. But the meaning part should be very significant. Meaning part should be there. But these people won't agree a sentence should always be in a group of words. Why should you make? So first significant feature, it is prescriptive. It is prescriptive. And what limitation? The description of what is called a noun. Another feature, they tell what is noun. Have you referred to René Martin grammar in the school, high school level or higher secondary level? They are given noun. What is a noun first? What a definition given in the book? Have you anybody come across? Noun is a name of a person, name of a place, name of a thing, finished. Remember, René Martin grammar book, high school grammar book, Bible of English language grammar says what is noun? Noun is name of a person, place, thing. Only 3 significant descriptions. But once you open the dictionary, you get, dog as a word. But in the dictionary it is given noun. Any animal, elephant you take, donkey you take, kangaroo you take. But in the dictionary opening, you will see noun. But this kangaroo, or this mango, or this dog, or this chimpanzee, or any cow, not belong to the group of nouns. Look, this is a limitation. This is a limitation. Renan Martin describes what is a noun? Noun is the name of a person, name of a place, name of a thing only, animal not included. But these grammarians told this definition is prescription but not satisfactory. It is insufficient. If animal is not included in the field of noun as a prescription, how can you judge dog, elephant, or whatever things, kangaroo? How can you call animal? How can you call it nouns? But they are given in the Oxford Dictionary nouns. Hope all of you are following me. Are you with me? Are you with me? You understand me? Yeah, very good. So noun as a definition given in the prescriptive grammar is not at all sufficient. They tell only place, only person, only thing, PPT. But modern grammarians, especially structural grammarian, PS grammarians, they told animal also to be included. You follow me the limitation? So what I want to tell you, all these are the limitations which made favorable steps to develop these four other grammar schools. See, in order to point out so many things are there, but I tell you only limited areas. And the next feature, all right, next feature you go to, it is a deductive grammar. What is meant by deductive grammar? Nothing. Deductive grammar is prescribing rules. The other feature, what we say, deductive grammar means we reach certain examples from definitions. Just like what is sentence? Sentence is a group of words that makes a sentence. Rama killed Ravana. Sentence. So from definition, you reach examples. It is called deductive method. In the way, it is also connected to prescriptive method. So what all the areas that I told about the features of traditional grammar? One is prescriptive. Okay. Second one is related to Latin language. Third one, noun limitations. Fourth one, it is deductive in approach. And the next one is called semantic. All right. What is meaning semantic? Semantic. It is a very big topic that we have to discuss later on, fourth unit, last topic, which is fully developed by TG grammarians. It will be coming later. But Renan Martin grammar, prescriptive grammar, traditional grammar, they depend on semanticism. Only semanticism is important. Then what is semanticism? Semanticism is a technical word. It doesn't mean anything, but it is meaning. Keep in mind, semantic as a word, it means meaning. Meaning part is important. I referred in the previous class what is based on meaning part. You know, my dear friends, that now it is almost late that I am here, but I remember my college days when I went into the border place Palakkad. And later, again, I went to Kalikavile, nearby border of Kanyakumari, in Trivandrum area. With my friends, I went there. And once I stayed with my friend's house and we went to market. And being in the market we collected so many vegetables. And I told this shopkeeper, give me some matanga. You know matanga? In border place, matanga is an object is there in the vegetable shop, but the shopkeeper does not know that. When I told, he was looking at me, a strange animal, looking, what? I told 1 kilo matanga need. Matanga. They do not know the real name of matanga in border place. They called arasanika. What did you understand? The same object is there in the border place of Tamil Nadu and Kerala, and the people, they use the name of that object as per their convenience. Shopkeeper may be Malayali, but they do not know what is the real name of matanga. They call arasanika. Object the same, two names. In the same way, Kumbalanga. We ask Kumbalanga in the border area. They would give you, they won't give you, but they would demand, what is it? We should say Pushanika. Same object. What is to say more? You people eat your kappa. Am I right? You eat kappa. In Thrissur area, what is known as kappa? Kappa is Goli. Once you go to Kottayam Kappa, once you go to border place, they will call Maravalli. Again you go to Thiruvananthapuram, then Kollam area, they would call Pula. Same thing, object is same, but different names. So what I want to tell you, once you understand, once you want something from the market, you should understand the area in which that object is popularly known as. Am I right? Am I right? Then being a stranger to Kalikavile, how can I get to matanga? Matanga is not available there. Arasanika only available. Once I go to Kasaragod, how can I get a kappa there? They call Maravalli. Once I go to Kottayam, I ask Kolli, they won't give, they would tell kappa. Okay, I will give kappa. So meaning part, semantic part is very important. And the definition. So relation between Latinative fallacy, then mixing up with different criteria. We have logical fallacy. Another feature, can you see that? Logical fallacy, one important area. All these are the main significant features of traditional grammar. All these are the rules that have kept behind it to develop traditional grammar, and which has main important logical fallacy. What is meant by logical fallacy? They prescribe certain laws which are 90% taken from other language, 80 to 90% borrowed from Latin language. All these rules they kept in a particular method and they develop this traditional language. And all these are not real sufficient effective merits of traditional grammar. They should be developed, or timely development is needed. So another schools of grammar began to existence. The last and final thing that they made a lack of explicitness. Another feature, lack of explicitness. Explicitness. What is meant by lack of explicitness? That in the introductory grammar, that in the introductory class I told, once we communicate something, the listener should understand. Listener cannot easily understand once you tell. So we have to give maximum semantically exposure. We should give maximum communicative ability to the listener. I don't know whether you remember last class, people, 99% people say, auto pidichu buva. This is lack of explicitness. Whether people would wonder how you catch an auto, how can you go? You should get inside and sit together and ask the driver to accelerate it. So in Malayalam even we say auto pidichu pova is as a feature of lack of explicitness. Whatever you use in English language in the grammar should be above lack of explicitness. So what I would say, at least these are not that much relevant that you should be asked by university to answer. But keep in mind, all these grammar schools have their own merits and demerits. And traditional grammar was the first grammar which developed, and it had been the platform by which all other grammars have been developed. And what were their rules and what were their main features, and traditional grammar as such now being discussed with all minimum these features you have to keep in mind. Then only you will understand the structural grammar, and again PS grammar, phrase structural grammar. Then we go to transformation generative grammar. Then we go to supra-sentential or segmental grammar, which is now very popular in all American universities. Even our Chhattisgarh, a new state in India, they developed a supra-sentential grammar. And in all technical colleges and all arts and science college, their syllabus now in grammar based on supra-sentential grammar. Are you okay? Understand? Very good. Now let's go to discuss what is structural grammar. I tell you, I repeat all these features only to make you understand what all the basis of English language grammar earlier and now also being developed. So traditional grammar, what is it? Who were the exponents? And what are the features and what were the limitations, all that we discussed. Now we slowly go to structural grammar. You know what is structural grammar? Structural grammar, first you keep in mind, structural grammar is development of the first grammar on traditional grammar. It took many centuries to study what is traditional grammar. How can you show the limitations? What all the methods and rules by which we can overcome all these limitations? Some grammarians seriously thought. Some grammarians seriously studied, searched and researched, and other schools of grammar, structural grammar school. Grammar school came into existence, and the exponent was Ferdinand Disaster. First one, Ferdinand Disaster, and later being developed with their own students, Leonardo Bloomfield, exponents, all these were exponents, Leonard Bloomfield. After their long and researched studies, they came into a conclusion that traditional grammar is insufficient. Means they have so many limitations, means they have so many defects, and all these defects to be overcome. As I referred, what is a sentence, what is a noun, wherever they research, they make a research, they find certain faults, demerits, and they put forward certain other methods. So opposite to Wren and Martin, our Ferdinand de Saussure, Leonardo Bloomfield, all these grammarians came as in a group, and they began to discuss structural method. What is their feature that you have to keep in mind? Structural grammarians' main features, first one, it should be structurally structurally organized. Organized means what? All language systems, all language sentences should have a structure. Meaning coming later, but the structure you should be keep. It is interrelation of linguistic units. What is the structure? Interconnection, interrelation of linguistic units. And they understood, they told to the public that every language is different. Every language is different. You take your Malayalam, you take Tamil, all these languages have different methods of making sentences. And I told you earlier in the first class that Rama married. All right, you see this is the structure that they keep. S plus V plus O, subject coming first, verb coming second, object coming later, which is known as, even some grammarians call English language is SVO language. Some grammarians call English language is SVO language. Means what? This is the only method you make active sentences from. First you put subject, second you put verb, then object. That may be the reason people make it in a different way, call it in a different way. English language is SVO language. Whereas in Malayalam, you keep SOV language. Look here. English is SOV language. Malayalam, your Malayalam is SOV language. Subject coming, object coming second, and verb coming later. I referred in the last class number 1, that Rama married Sita. Rama subject, married verb, Sita object. Again, this is the non-flexible method to make an active sentence. So S, structure S, V, O, S plus V plus O. But you come to Malayalam, it will be S first, then O will be coming second. Rama Sita married. Translation: Raman Sitaye vivaham kazhichu. Am I right? Is it correct or not? Some people say Sitaye Raman vivaham kazhichu. Still another people say vivaham kazhichu Raman Sitaye. But even some of you have gone for ballet program, in mythological program in the temple festivals. Like even some people come, Kazhichu Raman Sitaye vivaham. Even vivaham kazhichu will be split into two. Means what? This is already referred in the previous class. Means what? Every language is different from another language. Their structure is different. English language is a non-flexible structure. Everybody understand. Only the method to make a sentence in active voice is S plus V plus O. Only still one more availability is transformation. What transformation? Passive construction. That will come later. But in active voice itself, in Malayalam, we can make 4 to 5 methods to make a sentence. Means structure is important, not meaning. Whereas traditional grammarians meant meaning is important, not structure. But these people say structure is important. So we will find second step features. So structurally organized, it has inductive method. Earlier we studied deductive method. Here we have inductive method. Means what? From examples you reach generalization. Keep in mind, in wherever possible, inductive and deductive method coming in all the fields of learning. Here in English, inductive method, from example, you will reach generalized truth. There from generalized truth you reach examples. Here from example, they will supply you examples. Raman married Sita is an example from where we understand non-flexibility of the rule. So structural grammarians, they have different style of teaching. They have different styles of approaching English language. It is in this way inductive in approach. Another one, Franz Boas, another exponent, Franz Boas, another exponent. He has written Structuralism as a grammar book, and in which Bloomfield also combined, and they studied three important features. One is phonology. One is phonology. Could you anybody tell me what is phonology? You? No. Phonology means sound system of language. It is just like mathematics, physics, phonetics. You studied phonetics. Phonetics and phonology is different. Phonetics is scientific study of sound system of language. Phonology means scientific study of sound system of particular language. So Franz Boas and Bloomfield combinedly made a research and brought out all languages, particularly English language, preference given to phonology. Second one morphology. Third one, first one phonology, morphology, then third one syntax. Syntax. So phonology related to phonetics, sound system, morphology related to grammar, and syntax. What is syntax? A very heavy topic coming later, we will teach you. Syntax is different structure of different sentences, which is a very complicated topic that we will discuss. In the fourth unit, middle part, all synthesis series coming. So what I want to tell you, structural grammarians brought out three important major significant areas. One is phonology, second one morphology, third one syntactical studies, syntactical related to sentence, for which they bring very mega area, called IC analysis. This is a very important topic related to structural grammarians, by which they stand themselves a block. What is IC analysis? IC analysis means immediate constituent analysis. Words are given, even words are divided into different fragments. IC analysis has two important dimensions. First dimension is word divisions. Second one, structural sentence divisions. They tell very openly all the words can be divided into two or divided into different parts. Example, they take one example. Unknowingly, one topic, one word, unknowingly. They divide unknowingly in morphological way. One, knowingly, again knowingly divide. No, all right, ingly. Look. Knowing first, then ly. Three divisions coming. From left side some elements added, from right side some elements added. All these are coming in the second unit, we will study later. But I tell you, immediate constituent analysis is a main feature of structural grammarians, and it is applied to the field of not only the word making, word formation, but also in the field of sentence making. Means all the sentences may be approached in a immediate constituent analysis method, and we can get different sentences. Example will give you one how to take a sentence. Poor John ran away. One example. Poor John ran away. We divide this sentence into two ways. One, ran away. This is called subject. This is called predicate. In structural grammarians, they divide S is equal to NP, PR is equal to V is equal to again VP. Earlier it was subject and predicate, now it is known as NP and VP. Poor John ran away. Poor John ran away. Poor John, subject. It is John and poor standing together. It is now known as NP. NP means noun phrase. It is a phrase means group of words. Ran away. It is verb plus away, adverb. But all two words together form predicate part of the sentence that you studied in traditional grammar. Now it has become VP. VP means verbal phrase. So once traditional grammar people say subject and predicate, structural people say NP and VP. So this is the difference. Traditional grammar. So many examples are there. Even with the analysis of immediate analysis, structural grammarians say meaning will be different. Another example you take. Famous example given, I fed her dog biscuits. Look here, I subject, fed verb, her dog biscuits, her dog. This is her dog. This is her dog, not his dog, her dog, biscuits, object. Alright, this is her dog, her is ADJ, dog is EN. But this is one meaning. By the method of IC analysis, we get one meaning. Another meaning, we take yes, we, her, one object, second, another object, direct object, this is indirect object. Alright, this is indirect object, or you call object SVO. Alright, dog biscuits, you take dog biscuits, this is ADJ, biscuit N. Then you will get a second meaning. What did you understand? By the method of IC analysis, we can analyze all the sentences in two fragments, and by which after analyzing you will reach, sometime you will get a different meaning. First one was, I fed her dog. അവളുടെ നായി ബിസ്ക്കറ്റ് തീറ്റി. രണ്ടാമത്, I fed her. അവളെൻ്റെ വീട്ടിലേക്ക് വന്നപ്പോൾ നായിക്ക് കൊടുക്കുന്ന ബിസ്ക്കറ്റ് അവളെ തീറ്റി എന്നാണ് പറഞ്ഞു വരുന്നത്. You will get different meanings. By the way, plenty examples are there, but not needed for you. But to make you understand what is IC analysis significance, IC analysis significance is that by the analysis of sentence, by the analysis of words, you will get different meanings. Means structure is important, not meaning. If the structure is correct, sentence will be correct. That is structural grammar.